Heyo! Welcome back to the Break Free Podcast with Rachel. And we're riding again. Just me and you today. Like I said, we're going to be doing more of this. And my special message to you guys today, we're going to be talking about excuses. And I love this subject. I love talking about excuses. Man, they show up in my life here and there. And boy, do I hear a lot of them in the way that I get to work with people. So let's talk about those. What are the excuses in your life? I would love if you guys could just take a second and really think about that. What are the excuses that are living in your life right now? And let's just tear that down. Let's just be honest with ourselves. Let's just be real with yourself for a second. What are those things in your life that you're totally making excuses about? And I'm going to share some of mine with you guys right now so we can just get all nice and open here about what I'm talking about. So let's see. One that came to mind right away was my excuse in why I have not made it to yoga. So a friend opened a studio, probably about 6 weeks ago now. And before she was going to open that studio, I was like, I'm going to go to yoga every week, and had all these plans to do that. Well, come now, 6 weeks later, I've only been to yoga twice. And really thinking about the excuses that have come up. Yeah, I could be justify those things, which we do a lot. We justify our excuses, right? I don't have time. Mostly the biggest one I hear is I don't have time. And that's the biggest one that I have played in my head. But the truth is that it's not that I don't have time. And that's a big one for me when I hear that from anybody else. When somebody tells me, when they're working with me and said, they're saying, I don't have time. I'm thinking, because this is the truth, is it's not a priority, right? It's not a priority to you right now. I love that quote that talks about try replacing I don't have time with it's not a priority and see how that feels. And I do that often. I replace that often. And when I replace it of it's not a priority, and I come to the place of yeah, Rach, I can come to that place of you're right, it's not a priority. And that's okay. It's okay that it's not a priority. It totally is. I want to give you guys that I want to give you that okay, in that it's okay if it's not a priority. I think sometimes we get so caught up in thinking that everything has to be a priority that, we're not allowed to make excuses. Well, let me rephrase that. I actually don't think you should make excuses. I hate excuses. I think they're bullshit. I don't think you should make excuses. But I definitely think that you should have priorities, and I think that you should stick by those priorities and stand by those priorities and not make plans or commitments outside of those priorities. So what are your priorities? And the truth is that doing yoga right now in my life is not a priority. That's just the way it is. I always talk about how I should do it more, how I want to do it more. But right now, for the hour that I am, making a priority for myself to work out each day, that is not where I'm putting my priority into my fitness. For me, when you think, is that right? Is that wrong? For me, it's the right decision because it's where I'm at right now and in my needs, right? So I just want you guys to think about that as you're thinking about, maybe some of the excuses in your life, maybe the excuses in, business-wise, maybe in your career, in, your school path, in whatever it is, and you running your business, creating your business, there's different excuses that are popping for you up for you in that area of, I don't have everything I need to start that business, right? Well, that's just an excuse. That's just an excuse. You can have everything you need to start that business. And a lot of the time you're waiting until it's perfect and you have all those things, and you're using the fact that you don't have every single one of those things as an excuse not to jump off the cliff and do it. When the truth is that you can jump off the cliff at any time. You can create those things at any time. You can make that a priority when you want to, if you want to, right? So another thing is probably for me is the time that I spend with my kids. And I make a lot of excuses in my head of why I don't create more time that I want to create for them, right? Because it actually is a priority to me, but I've made other things more of a priority. So then I have to rearrange and realign those priorities. So it is a priority. How do you rearrange and realign those priorities, right? So that's really what I've been working on in my life, is realizing what are my priorities, what are things that I've taken more priority over those things, and how do I rearrange those things to make sure that they align up in the order that makes sense to what I want in my life. And that's also going to help you with your excuses. And so that if those things don't align, that you're committing to, that you're putting into your life, they don't align with your priorities, you're going to be making excuses left and right, because making excuses for things that are not a priority are going to be happening daily. That's what is happening. So what do? You realign, you move things around. That's what I'm doing with my kids, in that I'm making sure that they are top priority. And I have been doing such a good job at doing that. And I'm so freaking pumped and excited for myself that I'm doing that, and my kids. Because it's something that I have been making excuses about for way, way, way too long. So what I did is I started time blocking out my day to make sure that I got everything that is a priority, and I'm not committing to things that aren't a priority, that are my priority, done within my workday. Right now, they're at school, and this is when I'm getting things done, so that when it is family time, that they have my attention and my time. But that has taken me ripping things out that are not a priority, and then stacking all of the other priorities in my life in this certain time, so that I can make sure that my top priorities still have time in my day. I don't have time to food prep. I hear that one all the time as well. While you do, you're just not taking time for it. You're not taking time for it. And for me, I do a small amount of food prep every single week, and that is all I dedicate to food prep. It's not a massive priority in my life. There's other things that I've made more of a priority than food prepping. So in turn, I have somebody who delivers food prep for us. And they do a certain amount of food for us each week. And then I take care, myself or my husband takes care of the other side of the food prep. So overcoming that excuse, yeah. For a while, I could have had that excuse. I don't have time to food prep, but I know that's baloney. I do. It's that it wasn't a priority for me. So if it's not going to be a priority for me, how do I make it happen where those goals are still being met? Because my health is still a priority. Food prepping is not. My health is still a priority. My goals are still a priority. Food prepping isn't. So how do I still make that happen and keep all of my other priorities intact? Well, I just told you, I found another way around it, and that's what you're going to have to do. So if that doesn't fit within your priorities, right? Well, how do you make it happen anyway? Because it aligns with your other priorities and goals. My health is a priority. Food prepping isn't, again. So what did I do? I made sure that I had time to food prep my 2 proteins a week. I bulk prep a couple proteins. I always have veggies and fruit available. And then I have somebody who brings our other meals outside of that. Right? So that is how I've worked into keeping my health a priority. Fitness is still a priority for me. My day is jam-packed. I've chosen to work out. I've chosen to wake up every single morning at 4:30 a.m. and get my workout done before anybody else in the house wakes up, before I have any clients or anything else. And that's when I'm able to fit it in, so I can time block the rest of my day when I have work time for work, and then I can make my other top priorities still a priority in my day, making sure I'm able to spend time with my kids when they come home. It's all about priorities, y'all. It's all about priorities. Not making excuses is making it, and being able to overcome the excuses that you're making is find out what are your priorities. What is not your priority? How to make the things that are the priority work. And if some of the other things are not a priority, but they help some of your priorities, how do you still make those happen in be getting creative? Try different ways, just like I talked about with the food prep. All right. That is my talk about excuses. I would love to hear from you guys. What are your excuses? What are excuses that you're making in your life? I'd love to help you figure those out and overcome those. Because here's what I know. Every excuse can be overcome because excuses are bullshit. Let's figure out your priorities and how to still make it happen and how to thrive in life instead of continually just walking through life making excuse after excuse after excuse. All right, guys. Thanks for joining the Break Free podcast today. I am pumped that you all take time to listen to this. I hope you have a great day. Thank you for listening to the Break Free podcast by Fitness Festival Events. You can find our website at fitnessfestivalevents.com, where you can learn more about the events we have coming up, our Break Free community, and much more. For Instagram and Facebook, find us at Fitness Festival Events, or for our community, Break Free Community. For Rachel, you can find her on Instagram at rachel.pastor and email rachel@fitnessfestivalevents.com.